Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Sadaf Qureshi here, and as we were talking about Engel's classification. In our last video, we talked about normal occlusion, we talked about class 1 malocclusion, we talked about class 2 malocclusion and its subcategories, that are class 2 division 1 malocclusion and class 2 division 2 malocclusion. And this is part 2 of that video, and in this video we are going to talk about class 2 subdivision, then we are going to talk about class 3 malocclusion and its further categories, that are true class 3 malocclusion, pseudo class 3 malocclusion and class 3 subdivision. So we will start with the class 2 subdivision. These are the things that we talked about in our last video, so we will just skip these things. If you are interested in watching these things, you can go and watch our last video. So we will start with the class 2 subdivision. Let that slide come and we will start our topic. Okay, now starting with the class 2 subdivision. In class 2 subdivision, there is class 2 molar relationship in one side. And what is class 2 molar relationship? When the distal buccal cusp occludes in the buccal groove of lower first permanent molar, that is class 2 molar relationship. And there is class 1 molar relationship on one side. So what is basically in class 2 subdivision? In class 2 subdivision, there is class 2 molar relationship in one side and class 1 molar relationship at other side. If you are interested in what is class 2 molar relationship or class 1 molar relationship, we explained that in our last video. You can go and watch that. But in this, we can simply say that class 2 subdivision has class 2 molar relationship in one side and class 1 molar relationship at other side. So moving forward on the class 3 malocclusion. Class 3 malocclusion is characterized by following aspects. The first aspect about class 3 malocclusion is that class 3 molar relationship. Class 3 molar relationship is when mesiobuccal cusp of maxillary first permanent molar occludes in the embrasure space between first and second mandibular permanent molar. It is called as class 3 molar relationship. Okay, so this is class 3 molar relationship. You need to memorize this relationship because in class 3 subdivision, that is true class 3, pseudo class 3 and class 3 subdivision, all of this molar relationship will be repeated because they all are having the same class 3 malocclusion molar relationship. So as we know, class 3 malocclusion is further classified into three categories: true class 3, pseudo class 3 and class 3 subdivision. So we will start by true class 3. True class 3 malocclusion is characterized by class 3 molar relationship, that is mesiobuccal cusp of maxillary first permanent molar occludes in the embrasure space between first and second mandibular permanent molars. That is class 3 molar relationship. True class 3 has class 3 molar relationship and it is basically the malocclusion of genetic origin, and that's why this is called as true class 3 malocclusion. And it may be due to excessively large mandible. When the mandible is too large, it can cause true class 3 malocclusion, or when mandible is forwardly placed, it can also cause true class 3 malocclusion. Other reasons for true class 3 malocclusion are when the maxilla is smaller than normal, or when the maxilla is retropositioned or posteriorly positioned. It can also cause true class 3 malocclusion, or any of the combination of above situations can cause true class 3 malocclusion. Space available for tongue is usually more in true class 3 malocclusion because either mandible is large or either maxilla is small, or there is combination, so space available for tongue is usually more. So tongue occupies lower position, that results in narrow upper arch. So the upper arch shape becomes V-shaped. Then we will talk about pseudo class 3 malocclusion. Pseudo class 3 malocclusion is not of genetic origin. The first thing you need to memorize. The aspects of pseudo class 3 malocclusion is obviously there is class 3 molar relationship, and class 3 molar relationship is when meziobuccal cusp of maxillary first permanent molar occludes in the embrasure space between first and second molar. It is called as class 3 pseudo class. It is basically class 3 molar relationship, and it is one of the aspect of pseudo class 3 malocclusion. Talking further, malocclusion of this type is due to forward movement of mandible or jawbone, lower jawbone, and this type of malocclusion is also called as postural class 3 malocclusion or habitual class 3 malocclusion. The causes of pseudo-class 3 malocclusion may be presence of occlusal prematurities, or there may be premature loss of deciduous posterior teeth, and whenever there is premature loss of deciduous posterior teeth, child tend to contact anterior teeth together, and that's the reason he habitually or he close the mandible in a forward position, and that result in pseudo class 3 malocclusion. Or whenever there is child with large adenitis, that may cause pseudo class 3 malocclusion because the patient or the child prevent contact of adenitis with the tongue, so he gives the tongue lower position that moves the mandible forward during closing, and that results in pseudo class 3 malocclusion. So this is a little bit complex thing, but you will notice whenever you will see with the patients of these categories. So what are the causes of pseudoclassy malocclusion? First is the presence of occlusal prematurity. The second cause is premature loss of deciduous posterior teeth, and the third cause is child with large adenitis can cause pseudoclassy malocclusion. So we talked about class 3 malocclusion, true class 3 malocclusion, pseudo class 3 malocclusion, and then now we have the last category, that is class 3 subdivision. And now we'll talk about the class 3 subdivision. Class 3 subdivision is characterized by the following aspect: whenever there is class 3 molar relationship at one side and class 1 molar relationship at another side, that type of occlusion is considered as class 3 subdivision. And we know what is the class 3 molar relationship as we talked earlier, and we know the class 1 molar relationship as we talked in the last video. So if you want to see that in detail, just go do that video for the class 1 molar relationship or detail, and class 3 molar relationship you can see the past part of the video. So this was all about the class 3 subdivision, in which one there is class 3 molar relationship at one side and class 1 molar relationship at another side. So this was about the Angus classification of malocclusion. This is schematic diagram of Angus classification of malocclusion. Once we all reviewing this thing, Angus classification classify occlusion into normal occlusion, class 1 malocclusion, and class 2 malocclusion, and class 3 malocclusion. And class 2 malocclusion is further categorized as class 2 division 1 malocclusion, class 2 division 2 malocclusion, and class 2 subdivision. And so like class 3 malocclusion is categorized as true class 3 malocclusion, pseudo class 3 malocclusion, and class 3 subdivision. So this was all about the Angus classification of malocclusion. Thank you for watching, and if you like our video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment on our channel. And if you want any video on any topic, you can comment and we will work on it. Thank you so much for watching.